Fosgate T1. It's a 12-inch subwoofer. This is frames are shaking. Box. It's actually tuned to 34 hertz. It's actually custom made, so we did all this ourselves. It's all done up nicely. Okay, so here is the little system that I have come up with. This is a adapter so you can hook up a car subwoofer and amplifier within your home. It's got a car amplifier hooked up right here, as you can see. And then this is actually a gutted old speaker from an old stereo. And I've actually done some pretty big modifications, as you can see. This is a dual sub. Got this for free. That's the only reason to use that brand. You know, dual is actually bottom of the line, but for this project, this worked out okay. And then this right here is actually a Rockford Fosgate coaxial speaker. I actually have subbed in here for some old speaker that came out, you know, that's probably mid 2000s stereo. You know, on top here I actually have this is an amplifier I got on eBay. It's a 300 watt by 300 watt. It doesn't really matter how powerful. It's actually powering this coaxial and this little tweeter. This is actually the stock tweeter that came in this old speaker, but this is powered by the amp on this side. And they all come through the outputs of this amp, so that's how this gets some signal. It's got an adapter for the RCAs, which I'll show on the back side there, and for the speakers you just use the speaker wire from these, so it gets the signal from Bluetooth. That's how everything adapts. So we got, and so on the back here, how you really do get a car amplifier in your house is you get what's called a power supply, and they sell them in all different types of watts. So you want to get one that kind of matches the amp that you're working, or at least over, or it's going to, you know, obviously blow a fuse. So this is a 750 watt power supply. On the bottom here, it's going to have a bunch of different screws, and about half of them are positive, half of them are negative. So all you do is you take one positive, one negative, and then hook it up to your amplifier, positive and negative on there. The remote to hook up the remote wire to the for the amplifier when you're hooking up to a power supply for a home setup, you know, with there. So you'll take the remote wire off of your amplifier and you'll actually just hook it into one of the positives on here. When you zoom into any of the power supplies, you'll see some positive, some negative. Make sure it's just on one of the positives. It's not that hard to figure out that part right there. So to kill it, you know, there's either gonna be a switch on the power supply, or you're gonna have to actually unplug it. That's the only thing. Last thing to explain is how you get the RCAs to a speaker wire setup. So this is just a Bluetooth amplifier. You can find many of them on eBay, Amazon. Type it in Bluetooth amplifier and you'll get lots of different outputs. This one has a speaker wire, you know, output. You take the RCA and then you split it open with the wire cutters, and you'll see a couple positive, negatives, and you'll break that down, and it'll allow you to put one in positive, one in negative, and then I have one in the sub side as well. So that's how it's all hooked up to the RCAs, to the amp, so it gets the signal and knows to push it to the subwoofer, whether it's the subwoofer on the side that's plugged in, and right now obviously that one's disconnected. I have it set up to this larger Rockford Fosgate for now, and you can just swap it out as you go. You can grab and go with this. This is pretty portable. It's only about 25 pounds. Treble here and the bass on here. This thing does get pretty loud with just this unit, and it's actually meant to be external on the outside, so you can hook it up to any subwoofer you have. If you're in between subwoofers and your buddy has one in the house, and you happen to have one like I do, you can just quickly unplug the dual and then plug this amp in with. All right here we have the Rockford Fosgate T1. It's a 12-inch subwoofer. This is a 3.5-inch cubic foot box. It's actually tuned to 34 hertz. It's actually custom made, so we did all this ourselves. It's all done up nicely, and you plug it into this amp. So this is actually not on, it's actually bypassed. We have our vocals from here, and yeah, guys, let's check it out and just see how it all sounds. All right, let's turn it up, boys. of the house is shaking. Frames. Frames are shaking. Let's burp it real quick. Alright, let's hear another song. This is Decaf. Cheap Trick. It's moving. Tune that a little bit. That sounds good. This little thing is dumping. It's 12. Let's get one last little dump session in here. About half. I want to pop something. My last thing is, this is a dual amplifier, so that's the cheapest brand, honestly. I got it for free. Someone just gave it to a customer at my job, but it's 400 watts. So what this really displays, this whole setup, lets you know that the box is 90% of the build. So when I put this subwoofer on, I know it is a dual, but it just farts because this box is tiny. It's really not built for that subwoofer to the greatest. If everyone asked me to, I would put the dual in this box to compare it. Obviously the Fosgate's gonna sound better as a T1, but it's gonna perform well for fucking 400 watts. Everyone thinks you need 1,000 watts. Yes, in a car maybe, but 400 watts is dumping. I'm having to have it at 3/4 or less, even 20% or less, so I don't get the cops called. My neighbors, it dumps. Let's go.